and they're going to have to probably shell out another 200 million on that part of the pitch, and that's not talking about your centre half area that needs addressed. There's a lot of work, by the way, to do with this Liverpool team. Wolves 2, Liverpool 1 last night. Another rough watch as a Liverpool fan. Not good at all. What are my thoughts? What are my thoughts on it? There's a lot you could say. There's a lot you could jump at. You know, you could say Arne Slot needs to be sacked, and it's not good enough, and it isn't good enough. This season's not been good enough. And there's nothing worse when you're this team that's kind of 4th, 5th, 6th, and this inconsistency of going on a couple of wins and then all of a sudden you lose a game like that, which you just shouldn't lose, especially after you've been on that run of form. But it's where they're at, and I'm watching the game last night. And there was little things I liked. I thought McAllister looked back to being his best. I thought he was stepping high and winning the ball really, really well and nicking it and playing it into people. Curtis Jones was all right when he came on, although he's kind of part of that last goal there at the end. Frimpong looks good off the right-hand side. I'm happy with how he looks, and I think he stands out a lot because he's got a bit of pace. I think Kirkez has settled in at left-back really well. I don't think Liverpool were a shambles at the back or anything like that at all. I think if you turned it on at about the 70th minute, it looked like an absolutely crazy, chaotic, mad, open game, and it definitely wasn't that in the first half, and nor was it that leading up to just about the kind of 65th minute. It was a rough watch. Wolves were kind of happy just to soak up the pressure, and Liverpool just did not look like they were going to do anything. And look, that's been the theme this season, and it's a really difficult conversation to have. But I think you need to be, well, you do have to be ruthless in sport at this level. Mohamed Salah will potentially go down as one of the greatest Liverpool. Well, he will go down as one of the greatest Liverpool players of all time. He could go down as my favourite ever. It's probably always going to be Steven Gerrard, but Mo Salah's in the conversation. He's probably number 2, if he's not number 1. And everything that he's done, and the levels that he's hit, and the goals that he scored, and all of that we all know about. But look, it's over. It's over. And last season was that last absolute peak level of Mo Salah. It's not to say that if and when he moves on to another league, he doesn't do really well. But I just don't see Mo Salah at Liverpool doing it again at that type of level. He still pulls out some unbelievable passes here and there. You know, his little creativity sometimes can be great. But yeah, when he's on the ball and he looks like he doesn't feel like that guy anymore either. I think he kind of knows it too. I think his brain's doing one thing and his body's doing another. Unfortunately, is at that point. It's rough to watch. He doesn't have the pace. He can't go by people. Defenders are happy with that. When he's kind of in tight technical areas, he's never been the best at that. I know he scores that amazing goal against City where he's good at it, but that's never been Mo Salah's like absolute strong point, and he adapted his game in the last couple of years to kind of drop in a little deeper, get on the ball, get his head up, play some balls in behind. But it's just not working. Liverpool need to go into the summer and they need to have a right-hand sided player that starts every single game for them and is at the absolute highest level and is getting goals and is getting assists and has pace and has power and is causing troubles off that right-hand side, because Salah can't do it, and obviously doesn't trust Chiesa, and Chiesa's probably not going to be that man either. And it's the same on the left-hand side for me. I'm not going to absolutely bash Cody Gakpo. I think that, you know, when the team as a whole is in this kind of run and in this form, everybody just doesn't quite work. Everybody doesn't just quite fit. I mean, I even think at the back, there's times this season where I'm like, I think Alisson of old would save that. There's even moments where I think Alisson is not performing to his level. I don't think a lot of them are. But like Gakpo off that left-hand side is, I can't watch it anymore. I can't do it. I think Rio comes on, he's absolutely blowing out his arse for the last 5 minutes. So that shows probably he's going to really struggle to get much past the first half in terms of full minutes playing. But I think you've got to start him. At least he comes on and gives a little bit of like something else. He wants to beat a man. Defenders look like they're not too sure what he's going to do. He can go down the line and get it in. He can cut inside. He needs to give him the opportunity, especially in the Cup on Friday. He has to give him that opportunity in the Cup. I don't actually think Rio played that well last night. I think he gave the ball away cheaply and poorly, and you can see he's still a young kid and a young lad, and I'm not saying that he should start every single game between now and the end of the season. I don't really think he should, but I think he needs to be given an opportunity to start a game and pretty much now Wolves in the cup and then maybe take that on into the next league game. And then you've got Gakpo to come off the bench, because that's one thing, and I know Isak's injured and Wirtz isn't there and he's injured too. But God, you looked last night, and I text Greg and I said this to him, like, Rio was our only attacking sub, and you know, as much as I'm saying he should start him, it's a 17-year-old kid who, like, you can't really ask for much in that. And Liverpool have been spoiled in the last kind of 3 years with that kind of 5 forward selection of Salah, Nunez, Jota, Diaz and Gakpo. And the squad's just, it's too thin. It's too thin, and it's probably heading in a little bit of a different direction, but they need to really sort that out. And it's unbelievable to say that Liverpool spent, what, north of probably 250 on Isak and Wirtz. And they've got to go out and they've got to buy a high-level right winger, and they've got to go out and buy a high-level left winger as well. And then you've got Ekitike and Isak that can kind of be your two down the middle, and they're going to have to probably shell out another 200 million on that part of the pitch, and that's not talking about your centre-half area that needs addressed, a backup left-back if Robbo's not going to be there anymore, potentially a change in the midfield too. Like, there's a lot of work, by the way, to do with this Liverpool team. There's a lot of work to do it. And you can see they've been trying to transition into it as best as they can. They went for a really big summer. I think they're going to have another really big summer. But if they're not in the Champions League, financial-wise, and players wanting to come to you-wise, that's not going to be an easy thing to get. On the manager, yeah, it's a rough watch. I've got sympathy, and I don't jump to the conclusion of it's done with him because of all the factors that I'm talking about. There's the injuries, Salah being off it. McAllister's really been off it up until now. But I still think he's kind of just picks the same team all the time. That's what he's showing. I don't think he has a lot of faith in youth. I don't think he's going to be that type of manager. I think Rio's the example of that. I know there's a bit of protection, but he should have got a lot more minutes. I think there's loads of games where Curtis Jones could have started this season when McAllister's been really poor and he's not done it. So he kind of has his men, and I think that, you know, talking about having a big job to do in the summer, how many of those guys like Curtis Jones might turn around and say, I don't want to be a part of this. I don't want to be a part of this anymore. I'm not getting opportunities where I feel like I should have had opportunities. Using him as an example, and there's another player that you have to go and replace when you already have to add to that part of the pitch. So I don't know what the future looks like, to be honest, which is crazy to say. I'm not trying to be doom and gloom about it all. It's never as bad as you think it is. It's never as good as you think it is. But yeah, it's not in a good spot, and the style, it's been rough. It's been a real rough watch this season. It really has been. There's no spark. And I don't know if that is the characteristics of the front players, but it's just, it's really frustrating and poor to watch. And I've said that a few times on here, so I'm not going to go over it again. But that for me is on the manager. Like, the pace of the play and how we start games off, and just energy, enthusiasm. And you've got to, he has to, I think, play into the fact, and I know it's like you can't live off of this forever, but he has to play into the fact that we've just come off a time period where our football was very much on the front foot, exaggerated under a manager like Jurgen Klopp that did that. And again, I'm not trying to go into this conversation about, oh, he needs to be more like him. It's not that, but I think Arne Slot has to understand that, like, that's what we've come from, and this, it's just shifted to like such a slow build up style of play football that maybe with, you know, a winger like Luis Diaz or a winger like Mo Salah who's on form last season, maybe it comes to life a little bit again. I don't know, but right now it's really slow, and there's a lot of work that needs to be done there. So Liverpool fans or anyone else, let me know what you think in the comments about that. That's my thoughts on it all. It's going to be a rough battle for those Champions League places, and it's really a must-have. It is a must-have with the money that we spent, and we're going to continue to try and grow this team and get back up there next season and to keep people around. So like and subscribe to the channel if you enjoy this video, and as always, until the next one, have a good one, all right? Peace.